Forgive me, guys, if I'm looking a bit blah. It's 4 in the morning, and inexplicably, I've gotten up even earlier, which is a worry, and went to bed relatively late too. Brain, man, it's it's alive and it wants to think. I think it feels like it hasn't really been doing it for so long that it's like woo. I mean, Mark said to me when we were out shopping last night. Um, Thursday night shopping in the burbs, mate. Oh, it's the night out. It's fun, eh? It's like the only thing you can freaking do in the burbs is go out on a Thursday night and eat some food in a food court. It's excellent. Don't expect to be able to hear the other person though, because all you'll hear is kids screaming and chairs scraping. Echo, echo, echo. I'm just trying to eat. Really, I wanted to chat to Mark, and the whole time I was talking to him like full on about everything, blah 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 blah, and then he hadn't responded in a while. And I was like, are you listening to me? And he's like, I can't hear you. And I was like, so what? I've been sort of like shouting at you like for how long, and you can't even hear me. And he's like, yeah, it's because of all the noise together cancels out my voice apparently to Mark. So I was just sat there talking to him for ages, um, and apparently anybody in that direction from my voice, because I'm having to shout to be heard. I was like, oh no, man. Came here to have a chat and some food, and they just ended up orating to a whole bunch of people who just wanted to eat their KFC. It was really funny. A very strange experience, I got to say, walking around the temple of consumerism. It was really surreal, but quite fun actually, because I was just kind of doing it from a really objective point of view, just looking at everything, all the advertising, all of the people trying to get your attention. As we walked in, we were walking along, and there was this guy standing out the front of what I thought was a bank, and he sort of said something, and I wasn't sure if he was talking to me, because I was like, what? And Mark was beside me, and then Mark said something to him, and I'm like, what did he say? And he asked me if I needed a hearing test. And I was like, well, you obviously, not me, maybe. I didn't even know the guy was talking to me. Like, it's pretty random. You're just walking along, and some guy's like standing like a bouncer out the front of what I thought was a bank, but it's a shop, and he says something to you. Unless that's hi, how's it going? Like, it seems pretty weird. It's like, what a weird interaction. Like, that's his job, is to kind of stand there and try and get people to come in and have a hearing test of all things. And I mean, if that was your job, you'd think you would be saying that really loudly, holding up sign. Do you need a hearing test? Shaking a sign, just spinning it around, of all things that really should be done visually. That's probably one of them. Really weird. It was quite funny. Strange experience. So yeah, Mike's been saying maybe lately that I'm overthinking, and it might be the case. I mean, I've been underthinking for so long that I think it might just be this. You know, it's like I was here, and it's like, whoa, let's do that for a while, and I think it'll balance itself out. You know, that's the process I'm going through, is trying to figure out what's going on up there, which is kind of cool. But I thought I'd chat to you guys about the first time I went back to the UK. I was born in the UK, born in Brighton, and I've lived in Brisbane since I was 5. But I can't remember exactly when. I should have written that down. I'll let you know later. That I went back, but it was kind of after I'd been working in Australia for a while. I had basically been at a company that was really exploiting the shit out of me, man. They and everybody who worked for them, and we were working on shows that, yeah, they were okay, some Disney stuff and whatever. It was kind of fun, but the workload was intense, and it just really wasn't a happy work environment for me to be in. It was bad for my brain, really, and bad for my soul. Excuse me. So yeah, I decided, like, I just had enough. I'd been working really hard that year, and I'd negotiated a kind of deal where I was getting pretty decent money, and I had, in an attempt to find happiness and what I wanted, at the time I was really interested in interior design and beautiful places, and I was sharing a house with a friend, and that was kind of dissolving. So I decided to move into a unit, and I rented this amazing apartment on the river in Brisbane, and it was just beautiful. Very simple Japanese sliding screens warehouse conversion. It was really beautiful. And it had a pool and it had a barbecue, and it was right on the river, like about 10 minutes away from the City Cat, which is the ferries in Brisbane, and bike paths that could take me straight into town and straight over to where I worked. It was pretty awesome, absolutely awesome. But what I found was after about 6 months of living in this apartment, I was really lonely. I was really lonely. Nobody really came to visit. I put it out there and said, come and stay. I've got a pool, got a barbecue. And, if someone said that to me, I've got a place on the river and it's got a pool and barbecue, I'd be like, oh, when am I coming round? But no one came round. And I had some friends in the building, which was awesome. But really, it was just kind of me. And I was in this shoebox, not a tiny place, but effectively a box. And there was a window in the box, which was nice, but it just looked out onto a whole warehouses of more boxes. And I would occasionally look out and see people, single people like me, going about their daily lives. And one day I just kind of thought, what is this? Like, I'm supposed to be happy. This was my goal, was to get some awesome little apartment and have a great sort of fun life in Brisbane and do all these sorts of things. And I wasn't happy. All that stuff I'd been searching for, and I still wasn't happy. I had money and I had an apartment and I had a river, and I was near cafes, and I certainly had a good time with my friend. We used to go out and just lush it up all day, drink cocktails and go and try the latest, amazing thing from the latest amazing place. And it really was good in a lot of ways, but ultimately I wasn't happy. It was pretty empty. And so I kind of had reached a point where I'm like, look, this is how I'm supposed to be happy here, and I'm still not, so what's going on? And it had always been in the back of my mind, like, I'm a dual citizen, so maybe I should just go to the UK and give that a go, and just at least get back in contact with my roots, where I'm from, see what it's all about. And so I decided to, and I quit my job, to pursue other things, let them know to pursue other things. But really, I was just trying to escape the situation that wasn't making me happy. And I decided to book a flight, and I did that. And that was it. It was like this, when I quit, it was like weight off my shoulders, man. I actually got quite elevated because of it. And it was full on. I just was so excited. And then basically, lo and behold, tax time came around then, and it turns out the $4,000, which isn't much out of what I could have saved, that I'd saved to go to the UK, I had to pay it all to the taxman because they'd messed up my tax. So suddenly I had the equivalent of about £400 left. I had a ticket to the UK and I had £400 to survive on, which was pretty scary. But I was just thinking, well, look, go with it. I kind of had this idea that it was going to be some sort of Jack Kerouac on the road kind of experience. And, I'd meet these amazing people who would like let me doss with them, and I'd, jump on a train to one of their houses in France or something, I don't know, and, pick grapes and whatever. I had this kind of notion that it was going to be this big adventure, and I was thrilled by the thought that I would actually be doing it, that I didn't really stop to think about how I was going to do it or whether it was practical. And I got back to, I think I started this because of crying. Anyway, got everything sorted, got on the plane, said goodbye to everyone, some tears and stuff. And on the plane, it kind of, I suppose, all caught up with me, and I was watching this film, of all things. It was a film about a dog who comes from space or something and befriends a kid, and they form this kind of beautiful friendship or whatever. It's a lovely kids film, and watching that, I just started bawling my eyes out. I started bawling about the relationship, and suddenly it all became about loss and about all I was leaving behind, and it was just, the tears were flowing. So I find it difficult to cry, I suppose, but then I didn't. And of all things, watching that film, it was really, really funny. I started a bit of a journal and through emails and stuff, and kept records, I suppose, of what that journey was like for me. It was the most incredible thing I'd ever done. But I rocked up to Heathrow, London, and I didn't even have a place to stay the night. I hadn't even booked a hotel. I just thought, oh yeah, there'll be plenty when I get there, which is just crazy, really. So I turn up, I've got a suitcase, I'm sat at the airport, and then I go over to this like booth thing, which is, you can basically look for accommodation. So I was scrolling through this thing, through this thing, and it was just really expensive. And I'm like, oh, I don't even know where I want to be. Like, what am I doing? And it just got to the point where I was like, I was so exhausted after basically 26 hours flight and all the emotional upheaval that I just couldn't do it. And I just couldn't do it. So a friend of mine had given me the number of his sister who was living over in Wimbledon. And so just out of sheer desperation and hope, I gave her a call and said, I can't find a place to stay. Can I please come? Like, I was so emotional. Can I please come and stay with you guys? And she was awesome and said yes. And the flatmates there were so wicked. So I stayed with them for a while. And that started a tumble roll of me basically, overstaying people's houses for a while because I just didn't have a clue. I had no idea what I wanted to do. And apologies to everyone I overstayed with. Like, I really overstepped the mark on that one. I am sorry. But I didn't even know how to get a job there. I didn't know, the animation industry. I didn't even know if I wanted to still be in the animation industry. It was like all change, it was like mind the gap. It was full on. And yeah, I just well, anyway, I suppose I started thinking about this because of crying. I'll tell you more about the European adventures. It really was amazing. I was so, so lucky in a lot of ways. I met some incredible people who really helped me, for no other reason than they just wanted, that they're just lovely people. I remember one of my friends saying, it's basically just like, don't worry about it. I'm helping you because people have helped me in the past. And it was just so lovely, just absolutely incredible experience. But yeah, I find release, like the release of crying, I find it hard. Do you guys? I mean, is it something that comes naturally to people? Because I have to force it, man. I have to force it out. I have to watch a movie that I know is going to make me cry, and it just doesn't feel genuine. I know it's still a release, but it's not that kind of like, oh, cathartic, get it out of me, I'm going to howl at the moon release. And I kind of really think I need that right now because I'm going through some very similar shit than I was going through before I went to England for the first time. And just work-wise, everything, I'm just feeling pretty whipped. And not by all, just in some circumstances. And yeah, ooh, what do you do? I'm at that point now. But I just thought I'd jump on because, hey, that's what this thing's for, isn't it, really? I am still censoring myself, which is something I'm trying to think about whether that's okay. Because really, if I unleash, who knows what's going to come out, and it might offend a lot of people, and I actually don't want to offend anybody. If it happens, that's cool. And that was another thing recently that it's a really grey area and a difficult area to kind of get your head around. But this notion of offence, being offended, and part of me kind of thinks more that the act of being offended is more an act of being defensive. Because ultimately, what somebody says, unless they're actually actively meaning to hurt you, well, you shouldn't take offense. It's that simple. If someone, was really trying to harm me, then of course I'll be offended. I was more upset and disappointed than offended. But really, the act of kind of saying, you can't say that, is it's just a form of self-defense. It's kind of like saying, I don't want to hear that, and I don't know. It's kind of like, yeah, so I'm having dilemmas really thinking about whether I should censor myself because I've done that for so long and look where it's got me. And it's kind of, I'm at a point where I feel sometimes maybe you just do need to kind of unleash it at people and just tell them off and tell them how you're feeling and tell them how you think they're using you and abusing you and how you think you don't have any input, or they literally just got their blinkers on and they're, riding a roller coaster and you're clinging onto the back and they're expecting you to be freaking, at the front or something. It's just kind of like, there's only so much of feeling insignificant in a situation that is just so exploitative that you can take before you just want to scream at them. Like, what the hell, like, you just want to quit. You want to rage quit, man. And there are so many times I just want to friggin' rage quit at people, but I don't. I bite my tongue. And it's getting to the point very soon where I don't think I'll be able to bite my tongue anymore because, look, I'm drowning in my own blood. Stop biting my tongue. I can't talk to you because I don't have a tongue anymore. Sorry, I bit it off because I had to deal with dickheads like you my whole life. It's kind of like, it's where I'm at, I suppose. This is 4 in the morning rambles, by the way, everyone. Yeah, I'm even finding it difficult to look in the camera this time around. I keep looking at the pictures of myself. So yeah, that's another thing. Ooh, notions of self that I'm having to explore right now. Full on, because okay, I suppose it's an offending thing as well. That's similar. The notion of um, look, I'm so tired. I'm delirious. I'll just say goodbye, I suppose, guys. I'll sign off now. Okay, love you. Bye. Most of you. Bye.